Welcome back to another cult horror movie review. When we think of very campy cult classic horror movies, I think it's impossible to not mention the one and only Evil Dead. This is the definition of camp. Yep, this is the one and only original and classic. The first horror cabin in the woods movie that started it all. The movie that would inspire 3 good horror sequels, a solid enough remake in 2013, a great series called Ash vs. Evil Dead on Starz, and even a video game. But just before we get going, if there's a cult horror movie you'd like me to review, just leave me a comment down below. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to never miss out on another bad movie review every Friday and cult horror movie review every Tuesday. While I don't think it needs any introduction, for those who wouldn't know about it, Evil Dead follows 5 friends that head up to a cabin in the Tennessee mountains. Inside the basement, they find a weird-looking book and a tape recorder. They play it and listen to some sort of archaeologist who explains the origins of the book. He recites the cursed incantations in the book, and it summons powerful and evil demons that possess the characters, and from there, you guys know where it's going. I never got to see the actual real form of the demons outside of the people they possess. It's like in The Thing, we never get to see the spirits in their real form, which I think adds to the scares. The camera work is surprisingly good for a movie like this. I like the fast-moving POV shots of the ghouls that go across the forest. It's paired up with some haunting sound effects. I'd like to know how they did that. Those dark scenes in the basement look very creepy. And look, what would you know? A piece of the Hills Have Eyes poster from Wes Craven. That was neat. The look of the demons is pretty good. It looks like the characters' bodies started decaying after the evil spirits entered and took possession.
This kind of looks like your old girlfriend.
Props to the makeup effects team. The sequel, Evil Dead 2 Dead by Dawn, is a very horror comedy movie. This one is much more serious, but there's still a lingering bit of comedy here and there, especially the crazy sounding laughs and sounds that the demons make that actually put a smile on my face. They gave those creatures a distorted sound and a distorted voice, which I found ingenious. And we can't talk about Evil Dead without mentioning the gore. Man, is this film bloody and gruesome during the second half. It really doesn't hold back. The demons can only be destroyed by total body dismemberment, so the characters are constantly hacking those things to pieces, and that's obviously when most of the gore starts flying all over the place. The story goes that Bruce Campbell's shirt was so soaked in fake blood by the end of the shooting that once it dried, it actually got hard and broke off into little pieces. The cabin in the wood was demolished after the production finished, and only the fireplace remains. It's too bad because I would have liked to see what it looks like now. Some die-hard fans may think that this is the perfect horror movie of all time. I think that it doesn't come without its flaws. The characters couldn't be more generic and superficial, even Ash. It isn't until the 2 later films that he's got a chainsaw at the place of one hand. That's when he's blowing the fuck out of those demons with his double-barreled shotgun while being zapped through a time warp. Here, he's just a random guy named Ash, and while he's got a little more flavor than the rest, his character writing is still very mid, to say the least.
Oh, you bastards! Why are you torturing me like this? Why?
The dialogue is a little off too. It's very B-movie-ish, and for the bloodshed, it got to be redundant after a while. I felt that it would have been nice if they had switched things up a little bit. But for what Evil Dead lacks when it comes to writing, it honestly makes up with lots of gonzo violence and blood splatter and a few horror scares. Honestly, when it comes to directorial debuts, Sam Raimi did a pretty good job overall. I'm rather impressed. So would I recommend The Evil Dead? Yes, indeed I would. No horror fan should miss out on this classic.